Hey everybody, how you doing today? It's a Sunday, 12:22 p.m. So we were on last night, had a chin wag that consists of 1 hour of baseball and 3 hours of about everything else. But anyhow, I just felt like doing a little bit today. I'm more of a tutorial video than anything. Really, chuffed that a lot of people are enjoying PureSim baseball. It's really a good baseball game that was, again, given away. It used to be a commercial product and then given as freeware by its developer, Sean Sullivan. So for those of you who are members of the Neb McGreevy Discord, you can download this game for free in the Neb McGreevy Discord under the sub channel or whatever, other baseball games. So, I mean, for most people, most people play season replays, but there's a lot more that you can do in this game. So I thought with part one, what we would do is just create a league of teams, like from a decade, let's say. And so these are going to be some great teams from the 1990s. I was going to do something from the 1910s, but I figured why not? We'll do a little bit of modern baseball. So this will give you an idea. Part two, which will come at some other time, will show you how to work at the player level. And that will include like drafts and things like that. So this isn't just for season replays, though, again, for those, very, very easy to set up. But so let's get into it. So you're greeted, of course, here at the opening screen. The Forbes Field in the background is just my little, I like this to have, back in the background. So the actual game doesn't run at full window, but as you can see here, it's very, very easy to see and stuff like that. So we go to new game. All right. And you can see here already there's all kinds of, there's 5 main modes to this game, or rather 4. You could use an association template if you've already saved them, so you can load that. There's PureSim Classic. So I'm just going to define each one of these. So this is play PureSim in its truest form. Do a fantasy draft of players from any year in Major League history using the built-in layman database support, or for a true GM challenge, generate a fictional baseball universe that gains a history of its own as the years pass. So you can play with fictional players. Hey, Jack, how you doing? He says, good afternoon, sir. Well, I haven't been knighted yet, Jack, but thank you. He says, beginning of your 68 Tigers replay. Honestly, the game so far is fun. I am so glad you're liking it, Jack, and welcome in, man. It's it's really a lot of fun. Hopefully you were okay setting up logos and ballparks if you did that. So good, man. Glad you're along for the ride. Who knows? Maybe we get enough people playing this. Sean will come back and actually make the next PureSim baseball. I certainly hope so, because he did a real bang up job here. So anyhow, as I've said before, guys, I don't play games with fictional players. I know a lot of people think it's really fun, because they're a contention as well. These are players that, you don't know, right? You've never heard of. So, and it is, I'm guessing that's a fun challenge. But for me, there are so many combinations and permutations to do with these programs that allow you the freedom, such as this, such as PureSim baseball, such as pocket pennant run, out of the park baseball, action PC, if you own, the seasons that you want to own, or even just the baseball history collection, whatever. So I just enjoy exploring those possibilities and having fun and creating different kinds of leagues in addition to some season replays. All right, so we're not going to do PureSim Classic, though. We're not going to do that. So the next game mode down here is the PureSim Classic Quick Start. So this is like PureSim Classic. However, after you select your association configuration, PureSim generates all the players automatically, drafts them onto teams, and runs the initial spring training. You'll be randomly assigned to a team at the start of the season. Perfect for players who want to jump in quickly but still want to customize some of the association settings. So this could be interesting. But yeah, we're not going to go there. All right, now for those of you, at least not this, if there's interest in this, I'll show how to do that at another time. And again, you can see you have all kinds of choices. There's so much under the hood here. The next one, Major League Career. This is the one I think that most people will be playing. Okay. So this is pick any season from 1900 to the present. So the present in this game meaning up to 2014. So not bad, 115 years of baseball. Not bad at all. And I mean, here's Jack talking about doing a 1968 Tigers replay. So there you go. Fun stuff. So it says here, pick any season from 1900 to the present. You may either have PureSim draft the real players onto the teams they appeared on in that season, or use the configuration and populate the association with all fictional players. Again, meh. This enables you to start a career mode association with any season in Major League history. So, and this does, by the way, Out of the Park is the other game that does this. So to have a career mode. So what will happen, Jack, when you finish 1968, if you choose, it will continue and go right into 1969 and 1970. So this was something it's very similar to Out of the Park baseball, career mode play. So there's a lot going on with setting up season replays. Not some things. So there's true life transactions, all kinds of things that you can do in that. So, and here you just do your drop down, and this part doesn't need a lot of explaining, obviously. And there are all your teams, or all your seasons. So just remember that this uses the term association as opposed to like leagues, whatever, years, seasons. Sandbox mode is what we're going to jump into, though. I like jumping in on the deep end. So sandbox mode, start with an empty association and use PureSim's player generation and import tools to manually assign players to your teams or your association's draft pool. So this is really, really cool. All right, so we're going to start here, and it says our start year is 2014. It says, so since we're going to do in the 90s instead, I think what we'll do is we'll pick 1998 or 1991. Let's pick 1991. So what we're doing there is they're going to be matching a specific era. So this is the way that the game normalizes. So if I was, say, creating a league that would be more like outside the 1990s, and I wanted to do, I'd have some teams from the 60s, some from the 20s, the 30s, the 2000s, whatever. This is where I can choose to do normalization. Again, normalization is something you find in Out of the Park baseball, Action PC, what have you. Normalization is a really fun thing to do with, with cross-era play. So I'm going to keep this at rating players on a 1 to 100 scale. You can, of course, pick any scale that you want, including baseball's official 2080, which really doesn't make sense to me. So I like the granularity of a 1 to 100 scale. Okay, I'm not going to use finances. And I am going to, you don't have, once you click off that, you don't have to worry about equal market size. So there is, there's certainly a way that if you want to play with finances, you can. I don't like it. I think it's boring. I have a full-time job. I pay bills. When I play a game, I don't want to deal with finances in this way. If I'm playing something like Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster, that's a whole different thing altogether. All right. So now that we've set this up, our sandbox mode is going to be 1991. We're going to click next. Okay. And it's going to do its little loading here. Okay. So we are going to create today a league of, let me see, how many do we want to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's going to be 20 teams. We're going to do 20 teams in this league, and it's going to be like this. So we're going to pick two leagues with 110 division per league. Okay, so this is Major League format, the 62 to 68, but we're just going to use these 20 team, the 20 team thing. So let's set this up. All right, and we're going to click next. Again, you can go all the way down to just 2 teams if you wanted to match. So here's a fun thing you can do in this game. So you could take 2 teams, right? So I've shown you guys backtobaseball.com, which is a great website. You can take any 2 teams, and that website will run something like 5,000 simulations, and you can keep changing lineups and stuff and what have you. And it will show you the results of the first 25 games, as far as box scores, everything like that. But it will also then show you in a graph form the results of who won more games and stuff like that. So it's really neat. But if you wanted to do something a little bit more hands-on, you could even go as low as this is 2 teams. Just pick 2 teams from history if you wanted. and actually have them play a 162 game season. And you could do that and then go in and tinker around and stuff like that, or just see how these two teams would play against each other, right? A one-off never counts. You know, what is it? Isn't there a saying, like, on any given day, right? And I think that's especially true in, American football, right? You know, one game, that's the only professional team sport in the United States, right? That decides the championship, right? So Stanley Cup is a series. You know, the NBA has their, right, and then of course baseball, the World Series, right? But football decides it in one game, which, I think is bizarre, but that's me. All right. Anyhow, let's do this and let's continue. All right. Okay. So now we can click here to select and add regions. Now you don't have to get yourself too kind of bunked up in this kind of thing. All right. Because this is all going to change. All right. But we're going to call this here. We're going to call this, 90s Diamond League. Let's just call it that for lack of a better term. All right. You can put whatever you want here. You can call it Fred. You can call it Shakira if you want. Doesn't matter. Okay. And then we'll League One, League Two, whatever. So ALNL. But again, if you want to just have fun, just do whatever you want with it. Okay. So this much is just housekeeping. This is really, really simple. I don't think we need division names because these are separate leagues. Okay, so let's go to next. Oh, okay, so it wants all the team nickname fields, blah, 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 blah. So all you do here, just click, add a region. It doesn't matter what you pick at this point. So just pick some at random because that's going to change when we start importing teams. Okay, so just that's all you have to do. This is more for again, when you're playing with Boink. And you can create your own regions, by the way, and stuff like that. But this is just when you're doing, I guess, the financial mode. All right. So you do have to go through this bit, and I'm just picking just random. Doesn't matter. Again. So yeah, we had lunch and wag last night, and as always, it kind of just kind of devolved, which is fun. Devolving is a fun thing. So why not? Let's get out here and pick from the bottom of the barrel. There we go. There's Portland, what have you. I'm not. You can see I'm just clicking through these quickly. I'm not really looking. I'm sure we have a couple teams here that are doubled up, but don't matter. But where this is nice is when we get into working at the player level. This is where you could just create a bunch of fictional team names and then draft players. There's Toledo. Then you can draft teams onto the real players onto fictional teams. So there is a use for this, even if you're not using the finance madness. Okay. All right, and then there's Spokane, and that's good enough. Let's click next. All right, and again, doesn't matter at this point. I guess we will be the. How about the Pensacola Polecats? I like that. I like being the Pensacola Polecats. All right. Hopefully, folks later will find this to be a useful tutorial. These things are usually not done best live, but I like to do these in case there are any questions. All right, so we have a ton of options, okay? So we can start up here by, as far as our roster configuration. So you can go from anywhere from 35 to 60 players. I'm going to leave it at 35, okay? It will say that the 35-man roster configuration could be a good option when replaying real seasons. If you're most interested in focusing on real players and Major League results, which I am. So we're going to leave this, even though we're not playing a season, and you'll see the teams as we bring them in who's going to be in this league, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we can leave things as expansion possible. Injuries can occur. I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn off injuries for this thing, and we're going to not allow computer AI trades because I want these teams to kind of stay intact. Definitely, if you have player photos, so if you have Action PC Baseball, or you use if you're like me, use Real Photos and Out of the Park Baseball, or whatever. If you have photos that have the first name underbar last name.jpg, they will work in this game. The photos that you have in Diamond Mine Baseball and in Baseball Mogul will not work in this. This uses the more common one used by Out of the Park and Action PC. All right. So just in case you're saying, some of you might say, hey, I have Diamond Mine and the photos don't work. It's because that's a different format using Baseball Reference ID. All right. Cool. We can customize the schedule if we wanted to. Okay. So again, you can have as few as 40 games and as many as 162. This is 1960 or 1990s. We're going to leave it at that. Now, the next thing is that this game has a fatigue model. Okay. And so the modes are strict and age-based. Okay. And let's go over that. So choose strict if you want player fatigue to be influenced by their real-life playing time. Choose age-based if you want the model to ignore real-life playing time and be based on player age and position. So we're going to leave this as our fatigue model as strict. Okay, got that. All right, down here for DH. Okay, so we can DH for the American League only or the National League only. So I'm going to sort of go against history, and I'm not going to use the DH at all. A lot of people might say, oh, but you're putting the American League at a disadvantage. I'm playing a what if. So this league never, right? It never happened, this thing that I'm doing. But you can choose to turn it on if you want. You can choose between 5 or 4-man rotations, whether you wanted like a dedicated closer or not. I will leave that checked. All right, now, player development engine options. This is kind of neat. Because you have 3 modes. So you have True Life Strict Seasonal, and then you have Alternate Reality. And we'll talk about Alternate Reality when we get to that. We're not going to use it, but so select True Life Engine for accurate modeling of player performance based on the player's real-life stats for the time period with natural variabilities. Use True Life Strict Seasonal to base performance specifically on the year being played. Okay, so and this is, it says here in parentheses, then typically used for strict season replays. So, in Jack's case, he's doing 1968. So, optimally, he would do True Life Season. Alternate Reality is a little bit different. Alternate Reality is basically, well, just it's kind of just like the alternate reality mode in Action PC Baseball. So. This also can be useful for this kind of league as well, or something that would have, again, teams from a wide range of different decades or whatever. Okay, then we're going to append source name to a year as we're doing this. I like to do that just because, when we're doing broadcasts or, doing whatever, somebody might say, oh, what year is that? And that's especially, again, useful if you're working at the player level. But I just put this on here. Okay, let's click next. And it's going to create this association. All right, now here's where you have your 2 choices, and this will, whether you're going to be going, and I can't believe I just called this parentheses zeros Diamond League. So I'm going to have to fix that. Anyhow, I got too religious there in the shift key. So if you continue to the next stage, right, that's good. But we want to add or import real players and teams. So this is where we're going to go. All right, so here we go. So we're not going to work at the player level today. That'll be for another tutorial. So first team we're going to bring in are the 1990 Oakland A's, right? So it's really, really, really this simple. But this is just really an excuse for me to be on here and maybe do some baseball. So there we go, 1990. So first thing it's going to do is it's going to load everybody from 1990. What would have been nice in this mode, but I can see kind of why he did it, would be like to have a little okay, I'm just selecting the year 1990 and then press OK and then do that. But you have to wait a couple seconds. So right now what's loaded in here is everybody who played in 1990. Well, I don't want that. I just want to bring in the Oakland A's. So there they are in all positions. Okay. And then I can select when you go to import to, so let's say to Binghamton. And then, right, when you select, just select one of these teams, and just the only thing I have to do is kind of remember the order that you're going in, just work all the way down. No big deal, right? In fact, let me see if you can even do this. Yes, if you go to the player import free agent pool, that's where it's going to throw them. So make sure to always uncheck allow duplicate players. Okay, so it says if you select this option, then PureSim will import all players regardless of whether they have been previously imported. This could be handy if you're doing what-if type scenarios and want to have multiple versions of the same real player in your association. I usually turn that off. Okay, so anyhow, we're just going to go right in order, and it does conveniently put things in alphabetical order. So Binghamton, and we want to rename Binghamton to the 1990 Oakland Athletics. So now you can see why we did it the way we did it. Okay, so actually, I think I put the National League first, didn't I? So that means we've got to actually do the Cincinnati Reds. I'm sorry. So I always do the National League first, but you can switch all that around too. But let's just do it in order. There we go. So we have all the 1990 Reds, and we're going to rename them, and we are going to import. Okay. And do I want to import a list of players to Binghamton? Yes, I do, and it's going to be renamed. And it's doing its thing. This is how easy it is to work in this sandbox. It's super simple. And I caught on to it like there was no real documentation for this. But this works similarly to the Fan Park Encyclopedia with Appa PC. It was a project or an app. I guess we call them apps these days that used to be something that you could also buy, and I still have it, that allowed you to import any season, any player, whatever, onto an APA Baseball for Windows League. And APA Baseball for Windows is based on the Master Game, and it's superior to APA Go. Thank you very much. All right, so now we've got Cincinnati in. Now we'll grab the 1991 Pittsburgh Pirates. You get the idea. This is pretty much now just me talking. But just want you to just to who knows who's going to come in and check this out or whatever, and get a chance to just talk to everybody. So now we got 1991. So you guys already noticed though that even if we were working at the player level, you could just pick, say, you could use a random number generator or whatever you want to do, just to get some ideas to think outside the box. That you could say, I want to do a draft of players from 1950 to 1960, but I also want to add in 1975, and I want to add in, I don't know, 20 or 2008. Well, you could do that and bring all these players in, not allowing duplicates, and then just dump them into a free agent pool, draft them. So you can really narrow in the years that you want to, or year, or what have you. Okay. So anyhow, now we're going to find the Pittsburgh Pirates, and boop. All right, because I'm using this in real time, obviously I can't, I can't just say, okay, we're going to pause this because it's not a recording, and I'll see you when the teams are done. So you just got to listen. So there are all the Bucks. All right. So you can see now that Binghamton, you don't even have to remember anymore. My bad. So now we have the 1990 Cincinnati Reds. We're going to go here to Chicago, and we're going to click rename to 1991 Pittsburgh Pirates, import players, and yes, I'm sure. And now it's going to just do them. So I hope that this will encourage people to create their own leagues. Very easy to do with teams. Just as easy to do with players, though, too. And that's where, that will be part 2 of this tutorial. So this will provide a nice basis. But right now we have, if we wanted to, we could even just play a little game between these two teams if we wanted to. But we're not going to. All right. So now there are 2. All right, let's go to our next National League team, and we're going to take the 1993 Philadelphia Phillies. Now we're going to see We could probably just do it like this, actually. Let's try another way, an easier way to do this. If you guys don't feel like typing in yours or stuff like that, and you don't mind a little menu navigation or menu scrolling, whatever, we can do that as well. All right. So we just go there, the 1993 Philadelphia Phillies. There they are. Okay. And then we're going to take our next team. So there you see the Reds. There's the Pirates. Now we're going to just overwrite Fort Myers. Boom. And import. Really easy. Now, similar to, again, to the Fan Park Encyclopedia, you could also just pick out, just certain players, like just teams. So like you could create divisional type things. Fan Park Encyclopedia is a little bit more robust than this, but just a little. Unfortunately, until I decide I want to put a virtual machine on this or another PC. I have another PC, but I bought expressly for that. Unfortunately, it's a Windows XP machine or a Windows Vista machine, and I don't trust. I don't trust going on the internet with those things, so I can't show you guys the Fan Park Encyclopedia. All right. Anyhow, let's keep going. 4 people watching. Hopefully, you're feverishly taking notes. All right, next we're going to grab the 1994 Montreal Expos. So again, you can either search by year, then team, or if you want to scroll through this, you can do that as well. So no big deal. Either way, I mean, it's a bit time consuming, but I think this is a nice thing, put on some music in the background and just create your league, create the league that you want to create. Yeah, why not? So the poor Montreal Expos, huh? They get screwed in 2 strike shortened seasons. Okay, and there they are. Again, it's got it right. There's everybody all the way down there. Good stuff. We're going to import them. And notice that if I do this right now, that would be a disaster. These guys are going to go to the free agent pool. That's not what I want. So, and I made that mistake on purpose just to show you. So I'm going to go to this next fake team, Halifax, rename, and import. And yes. So even if you don't do it with this game, maybe, this is something that's possible. Again, if you own enough seasons to do it, you could do something similar to this in Action PC Baseball. You can, of course, do this in Out of the Park Baseball. Out of the Park right? So I think it's fun because while it's, it's certainly important to learn about baseball history, doing our season replays and the things that we do, I think it's also fun to just set up like, okay, this never happened in baseball. Well, what if it did? All right, how about the 1995 Atlanta Braves? So again, it's a little easier for me. I kind of like just scrolling through the years, just doing like that, rather than dealing with all that. All right, so 1995, not Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, you Egypt. There you are. There they are. And Minneapolis, rename, okay, and import. Now, because we're not allowing duplicate players, there may be some players that are not going to be representative. But again, because I'm not trying to recreate something that actually happened, that's fine. And I could allow duplicate players. I mean, again, you could have like a 1957 Willie Mays versus a 1971 Willie Mays in some sort of league and kind of look at it that way. So free to do what you want. Hey, Kevin Blay, he's in here. How you doing, Kevin? Just, you see in the tin what I'm doing. Just because so many people are really liking this game, I just wanted to get under the hood and do a few more things with this. Okay, so now we have the Atlanta Braves. So next is going to be the 1997 Florida Marlins. So again, 2 ways to do it. Either pick the year or just do it like this. And yeah, there we go. So we go to 1997, scrolly. And there we go, Florida Marlins. And there they are. Hey, Truth Hopes Book, did I get much sleep? We were up late. Yeah, I did. I slept. Hey, Bernie, how you doing, man? So Kevin wanting to, and there's Carlos in here with us, and Kevin saying wanted to get a little information on the game. So thank you. You're very welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. That's kind of why I even do tutorials live. Bernie, I hope you're doing well. As I was going down to grab something to eat, I noticed that you were doing some Fields of Dreams, and I hope you haven't gotten rid of your Mac League yet. So hang in, bud. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, but people have really been enjoying this. I mean, this game in Strategy Baseball I've put up in the Ned McGreevy Discord, but this seems to be the one that people are gravitating to more. So I thought, all right, let's just show more tutorials with this one. And frankly, with Strategy Baseball, there's not really a lot to quote unquote tutorial. You can either just play fictional player baseball, you can do a season replay, or you can just create a series between any two teams in the included 100 some seasons in that. There's not a lot of tutorialing for that one. If you can navigate this game, that one is it's easy. Okay, so we got our 97 Florida Marlins. We get down here. Remember, this is automatically renaming those regions that we picked. Hit that rename, click import, and here we go. So yeah, and I mean, normally I don't work Mondays. My boss called and offered me a pretty good deal. A bunch of people called off tomorrow, and he's like, hey, if you come in and work a half day tomorrow, you can take any full day off than you want. So this works perfectly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work that half day tomorrow. And then I'm going to take off next Tuesday, because if the Super Bowl Baseball Spectacular all day, all morning, well, not all morning, but morning, all afternoon, all evening, and maybe even all night goes well next Sunday, then I'll definitely want to have Monday and Tuesday to kind of, recover. So, hey, why not? I get some extra hours this week, and I get another paid day off, and shit, life is all right. Now, last night I did show how to do logos and ballparks in this thing. So because it ended up being a 4-hour chin wag, what I'll do maybe is a very focused tutorial on ballparks. Especially logos are easy, but ballparks are tricky in this game. Not bad, like hard to do, like in, say, APA PC baseball. On Baseball for Windows, that I still can't figure that out yet. It's so weird, and it sucks because APA doesn't sell Riverfront Stadium, for instance. So I am still trying to figure that out. But I know very few of you play Baseball for Windows, which kind of puzzles me, but that's okay. But I do want to show again in a focused tutorial how to do ballparks in this game, because it's kind of involved. But the good news is, you could use Mike Silva's ballparks in this game. Any ballpark image you have, you could use in this game as well. But it's just setting up the ballparks is kind of a mishmash of Action PC and Out of the Park and how you do it. So it's not bad. All right. Let me see here. What teams have we done so far? Okay. So next team that we're going to bring in is going to be, all right, guys, I need a little bit of help here. 1998. Houston still in the National League in 1998, right? Yeah, I believe so. Okay. So Houston. When did Houston move to the American League? If somebody could let me know, because this is like modern baseball now. So I can't remember when they jumped over to the American League. But I think in 1998, aren't they still a National League team at that point? Somebody? Before I import them, I don't want to put them in the wrong league or something. I'll just hang out. And Bernie, hopefully your team's doing well in the Fields of Dreams leagues. You guys are just ripping through it and doing a lot of awesome stuff over there. So actually, you know what? I can just look this up in Baseball Reference. Let me do that. Boing. I'll just do that because I don't want, if people have their copies of PureSim up, I don't want them to have to stop and look at Baseball Reference. So Astros. All right, what league were you bums in? Yep, still in the National League. Okay, so still playing. Yep, so they're still National League in 1998. Okay, cool. Let's go back to this bit. All right, 1998. So yeah, and again, just as a reminder, if you just go to years, it will bring in all the players of that year. So you can already see that. You could just take a season again, dump everybody from like 1998 into a draft pool and redraft them onto these fictional teams or what have you. And then I'm just going to select your Houston Astros. So this is one way to do it. For me, this feels a little faster in some bizarre reason. So there they are. Get down here again. Just click there, rename the team, and import. The thing that will make ballparks tough, the guys will have to remember setting home plate origin and how you can move the image and the ball flight patterns. That's where it can get a little bit confusing. But Pesky Pole was here last night. I showed how to do this. Oh, this is so cool. Wow, it worked. So once you're used to it, it's pretty simple. And it's not as long of a process as this. If you can call this long, we're doing 20 teams. And it's still doing its thing. There we go. So the exceptions are, again, that it's knocking out doppelgangers. Okay. All right. Who we have next? The 1998 San Diego Padres. Okay. So again, then the other thing is you can just go right to the teams. I tend to always scroll past too fast. That's why I don't like to do it this way too much. But there they are. Okay. Go scroll, boom, rename, and import. And yes, just again, Now you can also, I forgot to mention this, you could flag all the imported players as amateurs. And so you can do like amateur drafts. So you could kind of create like a feeder system in this game too. So, kind of bear that in mind too. So you could bring in a bunch of teams and then you can bring in players. And again, digging deep into this game, there's so much you can do. And it's at the right price too, isn't it? It's free. Does it do some weird things occasionally? Yeah. So that's why, with this game, you really, you kind of want to keep a weather eye on the play-by-play. Which, by the way, you can move things all over the screen anywhere you want. We saw last night one case of a home run being hit, but there's no ball animation. It just happened. But, again, for a free game that hasn't been supported now for 10 years, the worst thing is you didn't see the ball fly out of the park. I mean, shit happens, right? Okay. Last National League team is 1999 Arizona. So let's get the Arizona Diamondbacks in here. Yeah, la. There we go. 1999. Bring in everybody. These two fields we'll work with in part 2 of this tutorial, whenever that will come. This is working at the player level. Now you could work at just the player level here. So let's add a little bit more to the mix. So let's say you just want to select some players. Perhaps here would be a fun sort of thing. It would be a lot of work, but what if you wanted to create a league that would span 1933 to this case 2014, but use this idea in other baseball games where you can. But you wanted to create a draft pool of players that were in the All-Star games, right? Well, you go to Baseball Almanac right online, and there's a billion other resources. You can see everybody who's in the All-Star game, not only the players who played, but the players who didn't, right? And the actual batting order, what pitchers came in at what inning, whatever. But the point is let's say, and you didn't want to, have 2 Lou Gehrigs or whatever. So maybe you might want to, space them like 15 years apart. So you could go in and say, all right, I want to pick, just the guys that were on the 1999 in the 1999 All-Star game. Do that. Import them as free agents, whatever, and just keep doing that. So you can see if you think a little bit more outside the box, the stuff that you can do with this is pretty cool. All right, and who we doing here? Arizona. All right. And there they are, conveniently right at the top, of course. So for those of you that came late and wondering what I'm doing down here, when you're creating an association like this and PureSim Baseball that's not a season replay, you've got to pick regions. And so you just randomly pick a bunch. And then when you're doing the rename or when you're doing the import, it will rename. So that was a nice little thing. Instead of having to sit there, okay, I've got to type New York Mets, Toronto Blue Jays, right? So that's cool. So now we see Portland. We know that's a fake one because we don't have, right? There's no year there or anything. So Portland, renamed to the Diamondbacks, and let's import them. I know this is kind of like watching paint dry, but at the end of it, I think it's really it's kind of rewarding to be able to, and fun to say, hey, I created this thing. This is fun, and I'm going to play it. And then after you play it, dump all these guys into a draft pool, draft them onto fictional teams, and do it again. So imagine, too, then that's what comes to mind. So cards and dice players, this is for you as well. I've been trying to get Ken Castro to consider doing this. So imagine you bought the 1999 season in Strat or whatever you bought it for. So you've done your season replay. But that's like one of your favorite seasons. You've got some of your favorite players in that specific year, right? You could kind of do like the same thing that as like a draft that you can do in these digital baseball games. Separate all your cards out into positions, right? Shuffle them up, right? Face down, shuffle them up, and then just start flipping. Whatever cards come up, flip them up. Make a random draft league. The reason I was talking about Cousin Ken Castro is he has the APA pre-1960 expansion set, which is like the original 16 franchises, all-time greats, but you got St. Louis Browns, Brooklyn Dodgers, whatever. And he loves the set and has played through it once and is going to play through it again. But I'm like, yeah, but Ken, why don't you could like just shuffle everything together and just deal them out. So many ways to play, All right, now let's go back, and we got to bring in the 1990 Oakland Athletics. How about it? I'd like to be able to type the year in here. That would make things a little better. But again, I'm not bitching. I mean, the game's, free. I played this back in the day when it was a commercial product, and absolutely loved it. And just judging by the response from the community and the number of people that have snagged it, not only just for the fact that it's free, but they've snagged it because, they're finding out it's a pretty good ball game. See, now, again, I'm going to make this mistake on purpose. If you just click import players, it's easy to get ahead of yourself, guys. Don't do that. You click import players, it's going to automatically just throw them in the free agent pool. Then you've got to go and draft them. So don't do that. Unless that's what you want to do. If you want to mix things up, some real teams, some whatever. Instead, just remember, just go down here and pick this up. Looks like we have a little bit more work to do than I thought. All right, so I'm going to rename them to the Athletics, and bang. And let it do its thing. Hey, Pete York. He says, good afternoon, Eastern Standard Time to all. Yeah, good afternoon, Pete. Good to see you. Just doing some stuff here with PureSim. In my continuing effort to think outside the box, that we have, it's incredible how much for digital baseball gamers the Sean Layman database changed the entire gaming ecosystem. It really, really did. I mean, prior to that, so like Micro League Baseball, for instance, was trailblazing in the way that if you had the manager's disc and stuff like that, you could import you could type in your own players. Now, the thing is, you had to type in the stats, so if you had your copy of Total Baseball, or the Neft Encyclopedia or whatever you had back in the day, you had to sit there and type in all those stats for all those players, but you could do it. So you weren't limited in that respect. Earl Weaver Baseball came with a bunch of players, split up into like, different sort of eras in baseball, if you will. And you could also add players in that one again, but you had to type in stats. But with the Sean Lehman database, all of a sudden you had everything. It was there, and it just changed it all. And I think that is what logically sort of led to Mark Cohen, the developer of Digital Diamond, saying, why charge for seasons when the data are free? And he's right. And so games like Don Broad Baseball, still waiting for Richard to fix this. You can actually import from there, from Baseball Reference if you want, from the Lehman database, however you want to do it. And it's given us so many options. Out of the Park Baseball, then, that allows for the developments of games like this, and Out of the Park Baseball, which already have these massive databases. And then the game that has, Pocket Pennant Run has right now the biggest database. Funny of all, this is probably this little tiny kind of unassuming game has the largest database of all of these baseball games. Pretty crazy to think about that too, just because of the number of leagues that it has and stuff, like All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, all the Negro leagues, a lot of Japanese baseball, Korean baseball, whatever. So Sean Lehman, whoever you are, thank you for such an amazing gift. And it's free. It's free. It comes with so many games, but great research tool. And we really got to thank RetroSheet, right? Because they're the guys that even made all that happen. All right, so we have Oakland done. Now, next will be the 1991 Minnesota Twins. Bring them in. There we go. I actually got the 1991 that time without doing a bunch of goofy scrolling. And there we go. 1991 Twins. There they are. And let's look for our next one. Again, anybody drops out, I mean, I totally get it, because this, nothing's going to change. I'm just creating here at this point. I mean, we can talk here while we want. Anybody, some of you here probably getting ready. Oh no, there's no football today. That's right. There's no football today. So I don't know what you football fans are going to do with the day, but whatever. All right. Crunch, 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 crunch. This game, for, again, being now 10 years gone, it runs remarkably well. I'm surprised. I really haven't had like any hard crashes of this game that are sort of repeatable or anything. So I think that's a great testament to Sean Sullivan's excellent coding with this game. So I do encourage you to download it. Why not? Why not? Free is free. It's only going to, and it's not that big. It's like 800 megabytes or something. Who are we bringing in now? We're bringing in the Blue Jays, 1992. 1992. Other ideas you could do with something like this. Maybe you want to just take a bunch of World Series matchups and create a sort of World Series league. So, so many ideas that you could do, and I think that's why I love the. I just went right past them, didn't I? That's why I like the baseball history collection so much in Action PC Baseball, because while you're not dealing with individual seasons, you are still dealing with this huge amount of huge number of players, and it's like, okay, what kind of thing can I create that maybe hasn't been done before, or my own spin on it? Yeah. All right, come on, 92. Where the hell are you? This is why I like doing it the other way. But there we go. Is it 1993 that I want? Nope, it's 1992 that I want. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? There we go. All right, Blue Jays. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. And actually, we don't even, I can finish the rest of this offline. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to hang out for a little bit and do this. If you have questions about PureSim Baseball, I'd be very, very happy to answer them as I just sit here and do this. And if I don't get any questions in a few minutes, or people just want to bring up some topic to kind of go over or talk about, or and we'll just cut this out because all you guys are doing is watching me menu dive at this point now. I'll just do one more here to just go over the steps of what you do and what I've been doing, because we don't want to keep learning experiences going too long. And hopefully we'll be back later with a game. I don't know in what engine or whatever, but we will. All right, so next team we're going to bring in is the 1993 Chicago White Sox. So 2 ways you can do it. Once again, for those that will be catching this late or whatever, you can either just bring up the year first and then the team, or you can go here and go to the team. All right, tutorial part 2, whenever I decide to do that, is going to be working at the player level. So right now we're just going to stay at team level. So I'm going to go to 1993. There we go. This always does work better for me. Now, at this point, it's loading in everybody who played in 1993. Okay. And then I'm just going to pick the Chicago White Sox. Right. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to select one of these fake teams and do a rename and an import. And we shall, in a moment or so, have the 1993 Chicago White Sox. Just looking at this, working off some notes here, and I noticed there's no New York Mets here. I guess they weren't very good in the 90s. I don't know. Bernie, did you? I don't know. Bernie, I know that you're in the McGreevy Discord, obviously. Did you download this game and give it a try? Just curious. If you're still here. Bernie out there in Las Vegas. So Bernie's still having a Sunday morning. All right, Ron Karkovice. Come on, Ron. You can do it. There we go. All right, nice. All right. All right, I'm going to assume that there's no more questions. And we're going to break it off here since we're not sitting in a master seminar. So 52 minutes in. Pretty simple. Wind back to the beginning of the video to see how we got to where we are and have fun with it. Okay, guys? Thank you to Pete York, to Truth Hurts Wilkie, to Bernie Strom, Sports Replay. Kevin Blay was in here. And Jack Dawson. So I know we had a few people lurking on the outside. All right, maybe back this afternoon. Maybe with some baseball. Certainly, I'm hoping this evening, though. I may put up a community poll asking, do you guys want to see another PureSim game, or do you want to see something in another game that I have? Reminder: next Sunday we will already be about 3 hours into our Super Bowl Sunday Baseball Spectacular, which is only its working name right now, and I am hoping to be able to go back. And we're going to feature some games that you guys probably haven't seen in ages, Micro League Baseball and Bo Jackson Baseball and all that stuff. And it'll be a learning and relearning experience for me as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. So stock up on the beverage of your choice and whatever, if you choose to eschew that other sporting event going on. And we're going to have people on doing things, try to keep it entertaining, keep it fun. All right, so this ends part 1 for creating custom leagues, working at the team level. All right, guys, see you around the batting cage. Bye-bye.